We're back in Pullman, Washington this weekend. Washington State and Santa Clara getting ready to go from Bailey Brayton Field this afternoon. Hi everybody, Trevor Williams here with you, and so glad to have you with us from the home of the Cougs, where it's been a nice home to play in lately for Washington State. Last weekend, the Cougars were able to take a couple games from the Arizona Wildcats, and lots of great hitting throughout for Wazoo. Jacob McKeon, a huge triple on Saturday after Washington State had to gut out a close one on Friday night. McKeon has continued to power the Cougar lineup, and Sam Brown doing what he does. He's an extra base hitting machine, put up some great at-bats for the Cougs, who also got a mammoth home run from Elijah Hainline, the longest of the season for the Cougars. Flip the page into the midweek, and Washington State was looking to get back at Gonzaga, who won the earlier season matchup in Spokane against the Cougs. Washington State getting the early lead in this one, able to expand upon it, and then defensively the Cougs being held in as well. Kyle Russell, maybe the defensive play of the season so far for the Cougars, sliding, making that throw, and a great pick by Jacob McKeon. And then things got a little dicey in the 8th inning. Gonzaga loading up the bases, Cougar bullpen having to get an answer, and McCabe Cottrell was the guy called on. He makes that great play on the mound, gets a huge strikeout, and puts Washington State in great position for an opportunity to win the ball game. Earns an opportunity in the 9th with the 2-run lead, and just continues to fire for the Cougars. Against his former club, the Zags, Washington State able to pick up the win, and now they even that non-conference season series with a chance to take on Gonzaga one more time in Pullman later this year. Santa Clara coming into town today. Efrain Manzo, really good hitter. Washington State will try to slow him down, and a pretty steady pitching staff for these Broncos as well, who already have a win against Stanford this season. We've got Santa Clara and Washington State coming up, our starting lineups and first pitch next here from Bailey Brayton Field. A lot of energy for these two clubs coming into a weekend series. Welcome into Bailey Brayton Field. So glad to have all of you with us as we get down to some more great baseball action here today. Santa Clara and Washington State. Dakota Hawkins getting ready to take the hill to take on the Broncos, Cougars' usual weekend starter. So glad to have all of you with us. Let's take a look at the batting order that Dakota Hawkins and Washington State will face here this afternoon. It looks like this for Santa Clara. They've got a lot of great bats at the top of this order. You're going to recognize the names of the brothers Dawson Brigman and Coleman Brigman. Their oldest brother, Bryson, is in the Marlins organization, and Efrain Manzo and Robert Hipwell really roll and run with this offense. They're the two leaders in the WCC in home runs, 12 for Hipwell, 11 for Manzo, and together they provide a big-time punch at the top of this order. The numbers for Dakota Hawkins on the season, he's been really good as Washington State's Friday starter. 5th in the Pac-12 right now, coming in with the 56 strikeouts on the season. He's phenomenal with staying right around the plate. The 56 strikeouts to just 16 walks on the year. Very reliable arm to start off the weekend for the Cougars. And behind him defensively, Washington State looks like this today. Will Cresswell doing the catching, Cam McGee's at third, Kyle Russell at short, Elijah Hainline plays second, Sam Brown at first, and left to right in the outfield, Jake Harvey, Jonah Advincula, and Bryce Matthews for the Cougars. 47-degree afternoon for baseball. To get it started today, Santa Clara out of the WCC. They have played some Pac-12 competition already and have some games yet to play, including this 3-game set against the Cougars here from this beautiful setting at Bailey Brayton Field. Already a 4-game set this year for Santa Clara. That was to open the season in February against Washington. Santa Clara split with the Huskies. Then they beat Stanford in early March 10-5. They'll still see Cal a couple times later this year, Stanford one more time as well. First pitch of the ball game is in there for a strike, right at 90 miles an hour from Dakota Hawkins. Crowd filing in on what will be a busy weekend here on the Palouse. Strike 2 from Hawkins. 3-game set here for the Cougars. Spring football game tomorrow. Should see a lot of Cougs in attendance this weekend. Hawkins, his 0-2 pitch. It's a little too far outside. Hawkins got ahead 0-2 and drops one low. Hawkins with a fastball, changeup, slider, curve. 5th in the Pac-12 in punch-outs this year. And high and away from Dawson Brigman, the leadoff man for Santa Clara. Back to it again. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on and missed. Great breaking ball from Dakota Hawkins. Curveball getting Dawson Brigman first punch out of the game. Really nice action on that from Hawkins to the leadoff man. So Michael O'Hara is next for Santa Clara. And the first pitch, low and outside. O'Hara right back at the mound. Hawkins plays it, and he'll flip it over to Sam Brown for out number 2. Good start here getting O'Hara. Was one of the leading hitters on the Santa Clara team last year. Has been getting on base a ton over his last couple of weeks. Efren Manzo, who we talked about the outset. Not only the 11 home runs, but hitting for that great average too. 339 taking ball 1. Manzo and Hipwell. Big 1-2 punch. And strike 1. Well, we'll see a steady pitching staff open up for Santa Clara in the bottom half too. Cole Kitchen, today's starter for the Broncos. There's Santa Clara 18-13 on the year, 7-8 in WCC play. Washington State 22-13, 7-10 in the pack. And a ground ball left side takes McGee to his left. able to put plenty on it for out number 3. And a very nice start for Dakota Hawkins as he's able to get through the Broncos in order, bring the Cougars to the plate for the first time this afternoon on Pac-12+. Bottom of the first inning up next. Santa Clara retired in order in the top half by Dakota Hawkins. And a look at the batting order for Washington State today. Jonah Vincula doing a good job at the top of the order for the Cougars. 6-game hitting streak. Hit safely in 10 of his last 11 games. And how about Sam Brown, 4th in the Pac-12 in batting average. As we see Cole Kitchen, who the Cougars will go up against. Kitchen, the second best ERA on the team amongst the starters. Has hit 9 batters this year, but opponents struggle to hit for average against him. Batting just 199 against Kitchen. And we'll get to the defensive placement for Santa Clara here shortly. First pitch swinging for it. Vincula to center field on a line. And it's caught by Coleman Brigman. So a line out is how the Cougars start it on the first pitch. You see Coleman Brigman there in center. Off to his left is John Bering, Michael O'Hara in right field. Robert Hipwell plays third, Malcolm Williams at short, Dawson Brigman at second, Efren Manzo at first, and Ben Steck doing the catching for Santa Clara. First pitch strike to Jacob McKeon. McKeon, who was tremendous last weekend against Arizona, going 7 of 12 at the plate. Comes up empty on the second pitch. Kitchen with 41 strikeouts this year to lead Santa Clara. Drops one low. Facing the all Pac-12 hitter here of Jacob McKeon. And Kitchen darts a fastball at the knees at 92 miles an hour for strike 3. So a quick 2 outs for Cole Kitchen, trying to answer the 1-2-3 top half for Dakota Hawkins.
First baseman number 25, Sam Brown.
Sam Brown will be a tough out to get, though, to try to go 1-2-3 through the Cougars, who mentioned coming into the weekend 4th best average in the Pac-12. 7 of 13 in his last 3 games, Sam Brown, and he takes a pitch low. Just a miss, that lower inside corner for Kitchen. I think he disagreed with the placement. Jake Olenhop calling balls and strikes. Jason Starkovich, Bradley Hungerford, Frank Flugrant from first to third. Cole Kitchen really staying away from Sam Brown here. 3 balls, no strikes. Gets back into the count with 1. Brown is tied for the team lead for Washington State with 20 walks this year. And takes strike 2. So Kitchen coming right back here at Sam Brown in this first inning. And gets a chopper foul. In terms of the Pac-12 numbers, the walks are high for Brown, but they're not Travis Pisana of Oregon State level high. He's walked 35 times this year. Brown will get his 21st. Gets the better of a 7-pitch at bat. And a 2-out base runner for the Cougars in this first inning.
Kyle Russell.
To bring up Kyle Russell, the shortstop. Brown aboard now, has 3 stolen bases on the year. And Russell takes strike 1. 1-2-3, top half of the first for Dakota Hawkins. Wazoo trying to put together some at-bats here with 2 outs. After Cole Kitchen, a line out to center, a strikeout of the first 2 Cougar hitters he saw. And the fastball's got good stuff for the senior out of Woodland Hills, California. Now sitting right around 92 miles an hour here in the first inning. Forged ahead of Russell, 0-2. Outside, Brown did go with this, and Brown is under the tag. His 4th stolen base of the season. Gets into scoring position for Kyle Russell. Russell is riding a 14-game on-base streak, hits in 6 of his last 7 games. Man in scoring position early, but strikes out on the outside half. Cole Kitchen, pair of punch-outs in this first inning, and the walk doesn't come back to bite him in the first. Santa Clara, Washington State scoreless as we move to the second. Second inning of work for Dakota Hawkins coming up. Scoreless 1-2-3 first. WSU a walk in the first inning. Nothing else for the Cougs. So here we are into the second. Robert Hipwell to lead off for Santa Clara. And strike 1 to the Bronco third baseman. He and Efren Manzo really supply the pop in this Bronco lineup. They have 23 combined home runs, but the changeup, nice usage from Dakota Hawkins to get Hipwell out in front. 23 home runs for these 2 hitters in succession. Only 15 home runs for the rest of the team combined. Hipwell just able to fight off the 0-2. Hawkins got Manzo to ground out to third base to end the first inning. And 1 punch out in the frame as well. Foul back. Crowd growing as this afternoon goes on. We'll expect it to probably get even bigger as folks get free on their Friday afternoon. Hawkins, nice pitch to the outside half, doesn't get the call. Floated it right out there to see if Jake Olenhop would go for it for strike 3. Still lots of pitches to work with on the 1-2. And again, outside. This one a little further out, 2-2. Hipwell is a tough customer. And fouls off another. 3 2-strike pitches fouled off by Hipwell here in this at-bat. Slugging .802, on base .504. Really good numbers. The 2-2 pitch. Out into right center field. Little line drive past Elijah Hainline. And a base hit. First hit of the day for Santa Clara. Big at-bat for Hipwell. 8-pitch at-bat that goes his way to open up the second inning for the Broncos. So a base runner right away for Coleman Brigman. And we'll see how Dakota Hawkins responds. Hawkins this season, the 5-run ERA. Opponents are hitting right about 300 against him pretty consistently in all situations. Strike 1 to Coleman Brigman. But Hawkins is steady. Stays around the zone, gets strikeouts at opportune times. He's a fly ball pitcher, but he doesn't really allow the long ball. He's up 0-2 on Brigman using the off-speed pitch. It's just under half of the outs for Dakota Hawkins recorded on flyouts. But one of the best home run per fly ball rates on the Cougar pitching staff. Foul ball down the right field line. Long foul ball. Keep it at 0-2. I think it really tells you that Hawkins does a good job of using his secondary pitches. He's not just barreling fastballs over the zone. We saw him already get a punch out with a curveball. Goes fastball inside for ball 1 to Brigman in this at-bat, 1-2. But anymore in college baseball, if you can be around the strike zone, you're going to be all right. Dakota Hawkins has done that well this year. Now 2-2 to Coleman Brigman. Coleman is the younger brother of the leadoff hitter and today's second baseman, Dawson Brigman. The duo out of San Jose. Another 2-strike pitch from Hawkins. Fouled back again. Couple really good battles here from Robert Hipwell and now Coleman Brigman to open up the inning for Santa Clara. Rusty Filter, 6th-year head coach, has ties to the Pac-12. Going to be proud of these at-bats here in the second. Pitch outside, Cresswell trying to throw out the runner, and he does just that. Cresswell catches Hipwell trying to steal second. First time he's been nabbed this year. And there was an appeal down to first base as well, it looked like, to see if Brigman had gone around. I didn't even see a swing. It looked pretty clearly to be a ball outside. It's 3-2. Maybe it was that Brigman tried to take first. The payoff pitch, low for ball 4. So Brigman before thought it was ball 4. The umpires had to clarify that. Cougars did catch the runner stealing, so 1 out. Coleman Brigman on via the walk. Only the 17th walk allowed by Dakota Hawkins this year. Who has now worked 44 1/3 innings. And Malcolm Williams, the Santa Clara shortstop, steps in. Not before a check over on first base. We're talking about Rusty Filter. Was a longtime associate head coach at Stanford. His staff has a pretty good ERA. Steady pitching top to bottom. Going to be what they need this weekend against a Cougar team that swings it well. Hawkins coming home after those couple checks on first base, and he gets strike 1 on the curveball. Filter 8 years at Stanford. One of the top pitching coaches back in the day in the nation. You'll recognize he also spent time at San Diego State. Steven Strasburg, one of the arms that he coached. Hawkins too high on the 0-2. While at Stanford, 5 NCAA tournament appearances, 3 trips to the Super Regional, 22 pitchers who went in the MLB draft. Man on, 1 out. Hawkins again checking on first base, trying to keep Coleman Brigman close. 8 steals on the year for Coleman Brigman. It's 8 steals on 11 tries. Again, a move over. These have been good moves. Brigman's been back to the bag each time. 8 steals for Brigman, just off top 5 in the WCC. This hitter here, Malcolm Williams, has 11. He won't get a chance to get on base in the second, though. Second strikeout from Dakota Hawkins, another nasty breaking ball. And 2 gone for the Broncos in the second. Brings up John Bering. Junior outfielder on this team. A stout 5'7". No score here in the top of the second inning. Dakota Hawkins had a single erased by a runner caught stealing. Walked Coleman Brigman here in the inning as well. It was after a 1-2-3 first inning for Hawkins. Fly ball, left field. Harvey trying to work towards it, and it lands foul. Out of the range of the Cougar left fielder, 0-2. Pretty nice day, all told, for baseball. Folks look comfortable here at the ballpark. See a couple knit caps still out here, but in the sunshine, it feels pretty good. We'll hope to see plenty of sunshine this weekend. A couple 12:05 starts coming up Saturday and Sunday. Hawkins a move to first. Still trying to keep Coleman Brigman close. Already 2 strikeouts for Dakota Hawkins. And his pitch. Line to left field. Harvey coming in, and it's going to drop in front of him for a base hit. 2-out single. And Santa Clara has first and second That breaks a stretch of 1 for the last 12 for John Baring. Get the 2-out base knock here in the top of the second. Bringing up Johnny Lutzo for this Bronco team that's right in the middle of the WCC right now, 6th in their conference, an RPI of 119. 7-8 in league play, but coming off a frustrating final 2 games of their series against BYU at home. Only took 1 of 3 from the BYU Cougars, who we saw in Pullman a few weeks ago. Washington State handled them behind a magnificent pitching performance. 0-2 to Johnny Lutzo. Santa Clara did not have a midweek game this week. They were supposed to play Nevada at home. It was canceled due to weather. 2 outs, couple on. Dakota Hawkins the pitch. Sent it low. A lot of common opponents between the Cougars and the Broncos this year. Santa Clara had a 3-game set against Villanova. They swept Villanova. Took 2 of 3 from UC San Diego. Check swing, fouls back the 1-2. Then not to mention a 4-game set against Washington, who the Cougars will see at the beginning of the month of May. Also the series against BYU, games coming up against Cal. Already 1 of 2 against Stanford, and they play San Francisco and Gonzaga in 3-game sets as well. So a lot of commonality in the schedule for Santa Clara and Washington State. And outside of BYU so far, a lot of success for Santa Clara against teams that are on the Cougars schedule. Hawkins for a second straight batter trying to find the final strike of the second inning. Just fouled off by Lutzo. WSU after a series win against Arizona in the hunt for the middle of the Pac-12. 7-10 right now in Pac-12 play. Strike 3 called. Dakota Hawkins, his 3rd strikeout, 2nd of the inning, strands a couple Broncos, and we go to the bottom of the 2nd inning, scoreless here in Pullman. WSU looking for his first hits of the day. Cougars stranded a couple in the top half of the 2nd inning. Go Jake Harvey, Cam McGee, Elijah Hainline due up in the Washington State 2nd. Cole Kitchen, good first inning of work. He walks Sam Brown, Brown did steal second, got into scoring position, but a couple strikeouts for Kitchen in the first kept the Cougars at bay. Harvey fouling off the 2-0 pitch. Saw a good opportunity after getting ahead in that count. 6-game hitting streak snapped at Gonzaga earlier this week for Jake Harvey. Pulls back the bunt attempt for strike 2. Good fastball poured in there by Kitchen. Harvey to center field, fly ball that Coleman Brigman has a beat on. Pulling that catch in shy of the warning track in right center. So leadoff man gone for the Cougars in the second. Cole Kitchen able to retire for the first Cougar 5 here today. Cam McGee, the steady third baseman for the Cougars, taking inside for ball 1. McGee, after a RBI against Gonzaga, now tied for third with Elijah Hainline on the Cougs with 27. Don't think he cared much for the strike call in the upper portion of the zone. McGee lines the 1-1 foul over the third base side. Kitchen ties up McGee. It hit him. Fouled off the handle, hit his body to ricochet into play. So it'll still be 1-2. This game, the first involving a Pac-12 school this weekend. Of course, this is the Cougars' weekend to be in non-conference play. McGee takes outside 2-2, nodding his head after seeing that pitch away, battling here in the at-bat. Kitchen's 2-2 pitch. And McGee hits a soft floater into right field. This will parachute in for a base hit in the Cougars' first hit of the day. Good job by McGee. Strength on the inner half. Able to work that into a jammed single in the bottom of the second. With the powerful hitting Elijah Hainline coming up. Couple home runs last weekend at home. And has 8 on his sophomore campaign after just 1 a season ago. Takes strike 1 from Kitchen. Looked like a slider. What a power surge for the sophomore from Spokane. Check over to first base. Manzo had to sky up for it. Cam McGee on the season. 3 stolen bases on 4 attempts. Another check over on first base. The Pac-12 slate this weekend has some really intriguing matchups. None better than Arizona State and Oregon State in Tempe. A liner foul by Hainline down the right field side. Man, he uncorked that. Way over the hitting barn down the right field line, 0-2. But Oregon State has come on. They've won 4 straight Pac-12 series. The Sun Devils, of course, one of the stories of the Pac this year. Pitch bounced in to Hainline, ball and 2 strikes. That gets going at 5:30 tonight. At 6 o'clock, Utah on the road in Tucson against Arizona. Washington is in Palo Alto to see Stanford, also in the 6 o'clock hour. And a rivalry series in Los Angeles in South Central LA. The Bruins making the short trip to face the Trojans. That'll get going at 7, and Oregon and Cal meet at 7 in Berkeley. Hainline down the right field line. It's tailing foul. Another long fly ball down the right field line. Cam McGee able to work a single here in the second for the Cougars. And Hainline takes strike 3. Right over the zone there from Kitchen. His third punch out. And 2 gone for the Cougs in the second.
The catcher, number 30, Will Cresswell.
Will Cresswell coming up. Cresswell, the second-year catcher for the Cougars, taking inside, throws on the money, but the tag misses Cam McGee. Malcolm Williams looks like he already is signaling his dugout that he wants him to review it, and the umpires will already signal that this will be reviewed. Ben Steck trying to throw out Cam McGee. For right now, it's a stolen base at second, but the umpires will take a look. Looks like Bradley Hungerford is the crew chief. Jake Olenhop in there as well, as they will take a look at it here. Big opportunity for the Cougars to get a runner in scoring position again. Washington State had one there in the first inning via stolen base for Sam Brown. It looked like the throw had plenty on it from Ben Steck to second base. It did bring Malcolm Williams out in front of the bag, though, just a hair, and that's where he had to try to swing back to get the tag on Cam McGee. These reviews have been a slick addition to the Pac-12 this year. There's all kinds of plays that are reviewable. To 14 different play types. Of course, a tag on a stolen base attempt is one of those. Big to see if it gets Cole Kitchen out of the second inning. Cam McGee and Elijah Hainline made Kitchen work here in the inning. You see this crew trying to come to a conclusion under the hood. Judging by, you can see the debate back and forth. Judging by that conversation, I would imagine it's hard to get a good look at this. Cole Kitchen just staying warm up atop the mound right now here with this review in the bottom of the second to see if Cam McGee was able to swipe his 4th base of the year. And they've reached a verdict. McGee is out, and that ends the second for Washington State. Ben Steck catches him stealing, and we head to the third, scoreless on the Palouse, Santa Clara and Washington State today.
Ben Steck, who just threw out Cam McGee in the second inning, leading off the third for Santa Clara. No score, Broncos and Cougars today. Dakota Hawkins, 3 strikeouts in the first couple innings. Here's his first pitch to Santa Clara's catcher, and it's knocked into center field for a base hit for Ben Steck. Steck could come in one of his last 10. Giving a little lift to the Broncos out of the bottom of this order.
Second baseman number 4, Dawson Brigman.
Third hit for Santa Clara. Now back to the top of the order for Dawson Brigman, who struck out in the first inning. Couple left on last inning for Santa Clara. But a great start here in the third. 9-hitter Ben Steck getting aboard, turning it over to the top of the order. A nice curveball in there for strike 1 to Dawson Brigman. If you're keeping an eye on the WCC this weekend, big series in Moraga between Loyola Marymount and St. Mary's. Swing and a miss with the 0-1, 0-2 to Dawson Brigman. St. Mary's is 3 games off the pace set by Loyola Marymount right now in the WCC, but St. Mary's leading 2-1 in the third inning. Game 1 of that 3-game weekend set. Hawkins already has 1 strikeout of Dawson Brigman. Make it 2. Brigman chasing the fastball up the ladder. And 1 gone for Santa Clara in the third.
Right fielder number 5, Michael O'Hara.
Portland, St. Mary's, and Gonzaga, who the Cougars just beat a couple nights back, are all in a 3-way tie for second right now in the WCC behind Loyola Marymount. Each of those teams 9-6 in conference play. Santa Clara 2 games off that pace at 7-8 in the league. Michael O'Hara fouling back the first pitch. So both Santa Clara and Washington State heading into the later portion of conference play are in similar positions where they need to make a move. And both have opportunities coming up against teams that are below them in their respective conference races. O'Hara takes strike 2 from Dakota Hawkins. San Francisco and Portland, Pepperdine and San Francisco coming up for Santa Clara in their next 2 conference sets. Pepperdine is 14-20 on the year. San Francisco 14-18. Check swing goes right in front of the Cougar dugout. Still 0-2 to O'Hara. And Washington State still had the head scratcher of a loss earlier this year to San Francisco. 18-4, a game in which the Cougars led 8-2 after 5, but San Francisco scored the final 12. The 0-2 pitch outside. 1-2 to O'Hara. That's one this year that the Cougars want back. And they really want back Sunday against Arizona as well. Late game, the Wildcats turned on to avoid a sweep. Liner at second. Hainline trying to size it up. It's over his glove into right field. Steck had to wait to make sure it got past Elijah Hainline. Now first and second for Santa Clara with 1 out in the third.
First baseman number 12, Efren Manzo.
And the table is set for the 2 leading hitters on the Santa Clara team, Efren Manzo and Robert Hipwell. Manzo takes ball 1. "31 runs driven in for Efren Manzo this year. First and second, the runners. And ball 2. Manzo from Chandler, Arizona, putting some pressure on Dakota Hawkins in this 3rd inning. Anthony Claggett will have a conversation with his Friday night starter here in the 3rd inning. The spot's getting tougher with Manzo ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. We mentioned 1 home run off the pace in the WCC behind his teammate Robert Hipwell, who waits on deck. Hipwell, 12 home runs this year. 11 on the season for Manzo's at the plate. Manzo grounded out to 3rd the first time around. Michael O'Hara, you saw there, the single into right center field that set up this opportunity for Santa Clara. Good one in the 3rd. And a curveball by Hawkins to get back in 2-1. Hawkins fires, check swing on the ground at second. No play to second for Hainline. Quick turn of the shoulders, goes to first for the sure out number 2. Good job by Hawkins. He had Manzo checking on that swing, and it resulted in the soft ground ball at second base. 2nd and 3rd now with 2 outs. Still a great opportunity in the top of the 3rd here for Santa Clara. And Robert Hipwell, who has 1 more RBI than Efren Manzo this year, 32 ribbies coming in. Hipwell is single. His first time up in the 2nd, he takes ball 1. We'll see how careful Dakota Hawkins is with Hipwell in the 3rd. First base is open, but you hate to add more kindling to the situation for Santa Clara if you're Washington State. Coleman Bergman is on deck. He walked last inning. Big swing at the upper half fastball, but Hawkins able to blow 90 past Robert Hipwell. Hawkins a pitch away from getting out of trouble in the top of the 3rd. Does it with a strikeout. Dakota Hawkins, big fist bump coming off the hill as he strands another couple Santa Clara runners, this time both in scoring position, and he keeps a 0 up on the board for the Cougs. They're back to the plate when we come back. back in Pullman. What a top half of the third inning for Dakota Hawkins. Strands a couple in scoring position for Santa Clara. The wind right there blowing over the first base side out in right field. It's blowing steady out. A left-handed hitter's paradise today on the Palouse. But the right-handed batting catcher, Will Cresswell, to open up the third for the Cougars. He was left at the plate, with Cam McGee caught stealing to end the second. Cresswell gets a good piece of the 0-1, driving it to the right center field gap, and it'll hop up against the fence. Cresswell to second, and he's in there with the double to lead off the home half of the third for Washington State. A really good display for Will Cresswell, staying with that, letting it travel into right center field for the leadoff double for the Cougars. Santa Clara set the table in the top half of the third, and Dakota Hawkins had to tightrope out of it. See if the 8-9 hitters get it set up well for the top of the Cougar order. Now Bryce Matthews, 9-hitter today for the Cougs. He's trying to bunt Will Cresswell over to third base and take strike one. Frustrating year for Matthews after he hit .305 last season with 12 doubles, 6 homers, 32 runs driven in. He would love to have a surge in the second half of this year for Washington State, be a big part of trying to put up some numbers for the Cougars down the home stretch. With a lot of exciting play, a lot of meat left on the bone this year for the Cougar baseball team. Some very important weeks ahead. Matthews puts down a good bunt on the third base side. Matthews has good wheels as well. The throw there in time from Hipwell, but a perfectly placed sacrifice by Bryce Matthews to get the game's potential first run 90 feet away for the top of the Cougar order and Jonah Advincula. There is Cresswell over at third base. Advincula line out to center field his first time up. If he does that again in this at-bat, it would be good enough to get the Cougs on the board. Cole Kitchen's pitch, hit in the air and foul over the left field side. Cougs still have home series left this year against UW and Stanford. Washington the first weekend in May, Stanford May 18th through the 20th. The season finale. Ground ball to second will also net a run for Washington State. We said a fly ball would do it. Ground ball does here in the bottom of the third. RBI ground out for Jonah Advincula, and his 27th RBI of the year brings home Will Cresswell into that Cougar dugout for a 1-0 Cougar lead. Jacob McKeon now with 2 outs. He takes a pitch inside. Good answer by the Cougars in the bottom of the third inning. After Santa Clara threatened in the top half, McKeon out in front of the 1-0 and just fouled down that left field line. McKeon last weekend here at home, his 3rd career triple. Has had 1 each of his first 3 seasons at Washington State. Jam chopper that Williams plays in front of second and throws to get McKeon and put an end to the Washington State third. Cougars get a run. A double for Will Cresswell sets it up. He was sacrificed over by Bryce Matthews, and Jonah Advincula, a productive ground out to second base to bring him home. After the first 3, it's Washington State 1, Santa Clara nothing here on Pac-12+. Dakota Hawkins set for the fourth inning. It'll be his 60th pitch of the day here to open up the fourth. A 30-pitch second inning. Santa Clara put some pressure on with a couple runners on the second, but the best opportunity last inning turned away by Hawkins on a ground out to second base and a strikeout of Robert Hipwell, the home run leader in the WCC. First pitch outside from Coleman Brigman to lead off the fourth for the Broncos. Brigman, high pop-up first base side. Brown looking at it, but knew it would get out down the line into the bullpen, down the right field line for Santa Clara, 1-1. We were talking earlier about the WCC slate this weekend. BYU is at home against UNC Greensboro, another non-conference look in the WCC. There are 11 teams in that league, so 2 got to play non-conference. We'll tell you about the 3 conference sets here in a moment. The 1-1 pitch. Hit to center field. Advincula started back, loses his cap racing in, but makes the catch for out number 1. Also in the WCC this weekend, Gonzaga is at Portland. That gets going at 6 o'clock. San Francisco visits San Diego at 6, and Pepperdine at Pacific also at 6. We mentioned Loyola St. Mary's already in action. That from St. Mary's is 2-1 Gales in the bottom of the 5th. Malcolm Williams, big swing at the first pitch from Hawkins, but it's strike 1. Williams struck out with a man on in the second inning. Tried to check his swing. He went around. 0-2. Appeal over with Jason Starkovich. Hawkins already 5 punch-outs today. And a line drive over the beer garden down the first base line, still 0-2. Five strikeouts, bringing Hawkins' season tally to 61. Ground ball at first. It eats up Sam Brown, and he can't recover. Bobbled it a couple times. Brown trying to backhand it, and the error over at first base. Going to give Santa Clara a 1-out base runner in the 4th. So Malcolm Williams is speedy. With 1 out here, Williams on with 11 stolen bases this year. That's 3rd in the WCC. John Bering trying to do something with him here in the inning. Bering a single into left field his first time up. Takes strike 1. Good hitter this year, producing a .308 average on 33 hits. Did just break out of a 1-for-12 stretch. Expect Dakota Hawkins to try to keep Malcolm Williams close here in the 4th. Hawkins another move over. That was a good one. Brown was scrambling to keep the tag on Williams. Williams takes his paces again at first. The 0-1 drops low. Will Cresswell's already caught Robert Hipwell trying to steal today. was back in the second inning for out number 1. Swing and a miss. Soft changeup on the outside half. Had Bering fooled 1-2. Big pitch here for Dakota Hawkins in the top of the 4th. 5 strikeouts already for the Cougar right-hander. Again, moves over to first. Hawkins, a senior who spent time at Lower Columbia before moving over to Washington State. He's from Chehalis. Soft floater out beyond second base. Kyle Russell back with it. And the Cougars shortstop making the catch for out number 2. So now Johnny Lutzo will have to try to get it done for Santa Clara in the top of the 4th. Runner on in this inning via an error, so Dakota Hawkins going to try to pick up his defense here behind him in the top of the 4th. Hawkins had to get out of each of the second and third innings with a runner in scoring position. 2 in position last frame for Santa Clara. Throw back behind the runner to first. Cresswell trying to see if he could catch Williams off the bag after ball 1. And really impressive last inning that Dakota Hawkins was able to get out of his jam against Efren Manzo and Robert Hipwell, 2 of the leading hitters for the Santa Clara team. The 1-0 to Lutzo. Williams does go. Cresswell throw to second. Short hop, tag down in time. And the Cougars catch one of the best base stealers in the WCC. Second runner picked down today by Will Cresswell. And we go to the bottom of the 4th. 1-0 Cougs. You see Sam Brown and Kyle Russell, who are going to lead off the 4th for Washington State. 1-0 Cougars going to the last of this 4th inning after Will Cresswell just caught his second runner trying to steal today. Got the speedy Malcolm Williams. Kept him from stealing his 12th base of the season. So Brown walked in his first at-bat. He takes strike 1 this time around from Cole Kitchen. Kitchen's been pretty darn steady. Just the double last inning by Cresswell that really came back to sting. Leadoff double, and the Cougars played small ball to drive it in. Brown ahead 2 balls and a strike. The other hit for Washington State. Bloop single into right field for Cam McGee in the second inning. Brown, nothing bloop about this one, but it's lined right at Dawson Brigman, who makes the nice catch on the hop for out number 1.
Kyle Russell.
Hit it well. See him give the encouragement to Kyle Russell standing in next. Tell him what he saw there from Kitchen, and Russell comes up empty on a fastball to open the at-bat. It was a quick last inning for Cole Kitchen. 9 pitches in the run-scoring frame for the Cougars. Russell, ground ball left side through the hole for a 1-out single. So Kyle Russell now with hits in 7 of his last 8 games, aboard with 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th for WSU. Looking to give Jake Harvey an opportunity. Harvey flew out to center field in the 2nd inning. Fouls back the first from Cole Kitchen. Came in today leading the Santa Clara team in innings pitched by 17 2/3. It's now 21 more innings than any other pitcher for the Broncos. Harvey takes strike 2. Harvey trying to battle in this at-bat now. Just sees it outside. Santa Clara dugout clamoring for strike 3. But outside of Kitchen, there's a lot of sub-4 ERA on this Broncos squad. Move over to first base with Kyle Russell. You have some regular relievers, Blake Hammond, Skylar Hales, Cade Pilchard, all under 4-run ERA. August Sousa as well. So there are a lot of good options out of the Santa Clara bullpen. Expect this to be a well-pitched series. Kyle Russell aboard with the single here in the frame. Jake Harvey swings and misses at the 1-2. 4th strikeout for Cole Kitchen. Now 2 Cougars gone in the 4th.
Third baseman number 7, Cam McGee.
Cam McGee fresh off a single his last time up. She had to fight one off the hands into right field. Just lofted it in there for a base hit. First pitch swinging, fouled straight back. Cam had a productive RBI ground out against Gonzaga. Runner goes on the 1-1. Great throw out to second from Ben Steck, and he catches Kyle Russell. And the Cougars end the 4th with a runner caught stealing. 3rd half inning we've seen already in this ball game that ends with a runner caught on the bases as Washington State leads 1-0 after 4. Some fans having a good time snapping some pictures with Butch out there in the beer garden. 1-0 Washington State. Going to the top of the 5th inning. Dakota Hawkins and Cole Kitchen pitching. Really good efforts here to start the weekend. Johnny Lutzo, who's left at the plate with a runner caught stealing in the 4th, takes a curveball to start off the 5th, strike 1. Fly ball right field line. Hit well but foul. Matthews giving it chase all the way to the corner. 0-2. Hawkins will be 3/4 of the way to the century mark on this next delivery. 5 punch outs already. Is 0-2. Line down the right field line, still foul. Crowd comes alive again for Hawkins. His 0-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. Fastball freezes Lutzo at the knees. And the 6th strikeout of the game for Hawkins. Gets Lutzo for a 2nd time today. 1 gone for Santa Clara in the visitors' 5th. Twice this year, Hawkins has turned in 10 strikeout performances for the Cougs. Ben Steck, the Santa Clara catcher, as Hawkins snaps off strike 1. 10 strikeouts against Villanova back in February for Dakota Hawkins. 10 strikeouts in the middle of March against Oregon here at home. Ground ball at 3rd, gobbled up by McGee, across the diamond for out number 2. So this is a quick inning so far to start for Dakota Hawkins. 2 up, 2 down on 6 pitches.
Second baseman number 4, Dawson Brickman.
Hawkins has design again right back into this with his pitch count. 13 pitch, 4th inning. Trying to turn in his first 1-2-3 since the 1st. Has to do it against the leadoff man, Dawson Brigman. And misses off the lower outside corner, 1-0. Hawkins pretty consistently finishes up in the mid to upper 80s in pitch count. So he's approaching what's typically the end of the road. But we've seen him throw as many as 109. That was over 6 innings against UCLA in a winning effort a couple weeks back. The 1-1 pitch close on the lower outside corner, but he doesn't get the call. The 2-1 from Hawkins. And it bounces. Good take by Brigman. 3 balls, 1 strike. Dawson, a pair of strikeouts in the 1st and 3rd innings. Dawson Brigman for Santa Clara does have 7 hits against the Pac-12 already this year between the Washington series and the Stanford midweek. Fouls off the 3-1, so the count's full 3-2. Payoff pitch coming from Dakota Hawkins. Wants a 1-2-3 5th. He'll get it on a fly ball into center field. Jonah Advincula calling everyone off to make the catch for out number 3. And Washington State, halfway point of this ball game, they're getting a brilliant one from Dakota Hawkins. He has shut down Santa Clara so far, and the Cougars will try to add to a 1-0 lead when we come back. Fans headed to refuel here in the middle of this one. 1-0 Washington State. Nice day for baseball. Temperature creeping to the low 50s. Cam McGee, Elijah Hainline, Will Cresswell in the Cougar fifth due up. First pitch to McGee. Through the left side, able to go the other way with it. And a base hit into left field for Cam McGee.
Second baseman, number 8.
Leadoff single here for the Cougar third baseman in the bottom of the fifth. The only other inning in which the Cougars started with a base hit, they scored a run. That was Will Cresswell with a double in the third. He was sacrificed to third, scored on a Jonah Vincula RBI groundout. Elijah Hainline now working with the man aboard, and he takes a pitch low and away for ball one. Pitch count's only at 55 for Cole Kitchen. 11 pitches last inning, faced only 3 hitters. And 9 pitches in that one-run third. So the Cougars have been swinging early and often at the stuff from Cole Kitchen. Check over at first base. Hainline takes the 1-0, bouncing in 2 balls, no strikes. It's really impressive what Kitchen has done this year in opposing batting average. The way he's pitched in this game, just the 4 hits allowed. Keeps him right in the ballpark around Blake Hammond, who's at an opposing average of 198. Cade Pilchard, a regular reliever, opposing batting average of 165. And August Sousa, 15 innings, 161 opponents hit against him. Easy walk, though, for Elijah Hainline on 4 pitches. First and second for the Cougars, nobody out in the bottom of the fifth, and a threat starting for Washington State. Will Cresswell would like to do it again here in the 5th inning. A well-struck double to right center field in the 3rd. And he has scored the only Cougar run so far today. He's also thrown out some runners on the bases. He's had a really big game for the Cougs. Turns to bunt, just wants to do his job this time with a sacrifice, and he'll do just that. Second baseman Brigman covering. And a good sacrifice for Will Cresswell to move Cam McGee to 3rd, Elijah Hainline to 2nd. Bryce Matthews. He had to do that job in the 3rd inning to help get Will Cresswell in. Now it's Matthews' opportunity to produce some runs for the Cougs in the 5th. We mentioned a gem of a hitter last year. He's had some struggles this season. It would be nice to break out right here. Infield comes in. The first pitch fouled off by Matthews. Good spot to get a little padding for Dakota Hawkins, who's thrown a scoreless 5 innings with 6 strikeouts along the way. High and inside, 1-1. There's a lot of good speed on the bases for the Cougars right now. Cam McGee at 3rd, Elijah Hainline at 2nd, both run well. Up high for ball 2. Really feels like for the first time in the last few innings, Cole Kitchen starting to lose his location a little bit here in the 5th. He'd only walked 1 batter prior to this inning. That was Sam Brown back in the 1st, and really Kitchen was being careful with Brown. A visit coming here out of the Santa Clara dugout. See if this is just to try to calm down Kitchen. There is a left-hander up and working in the bullpen, but it's hasty early work. Brandon Gomez is not ready yet. He's just trying to get hot out there. Gomez, the left-hander from Winters, California. So we'll see if Cole Kitchen can get it dialed in. Of course, the specialty of Rusty Filter is the pitching staff. It's definitely been true with the Santa Clara squad. Brian Green. The gamesmanship and the chess match to call the offensive timeout after the mound visit. Bring his guys together here. Second and third with one out in the bottom of the fifth. And Bryce Matthews sitting in a good count, 2-1. David Bellamy, Jake Valentine in that conversation for Washington State as well. Bellamy his fourth season, Valentine first year with the Cougs. Bryce Matthews, one of his last 11. But a year ago, remember, he was such a pivotal part of the Cougar lineup. Matthews puts a swing on it into left center field. We'll see if it's deep enough to tag up Cam McGee. Catch made out there by Coleman Brigman, and McGee come home to score a sac fly for Bryce Matthews to make it a 2-0 Cougar lead here in the bottom of the fifth. Matthews gets the job done. 2-0 Cougars. Jonah Advincula, top of the order. Grounded in the first Cougar run. Back in the third inning, scoring Will Cresswell as Elijah Hainline out at second base. Advincula trying to bunt for a hit. Looking to sneak one on the third base side. Advincula picked up his 27th RBI last time up. Tied for third on the team now with Elijah Hainline, who's out at second base, as well as Cam McGee, who just came to score. McGee a single in the inning, Hainline a walk, set up this opportunity. Kitchen's 0-1 pitch. Outside. Advincula trying to stretch out a 6-game hitting streak. Tied for third in the Pac-12 with 13 doubles this season. Hits it hard to right center field. This has some carry for Advincula, and it bounces up against the wall. How about double number 14 for Jonah Advincula to score Elijah Hainline and make it a 3-0 Cougar lead here in the bottom of the fifth. Pretty swing from Jonah Advincula. Now a 7-game hitting streak for the Cougar center fielder. And he's driven in 2 of the Cougars' 3 runs today. 3-zip Washington State, Jacob McKeon trying to keep this inning going with 2 outs. And plenty of speed in Advincula at second for the Cougs. McKeon takes strike 1. There would be no need to feel hasty and try to steal him over to third base, especially you don't want to take the bat away from Jacob McKeon here, who's hitting .328 on the year and has driven in 30 runs, second best on the team. But that being said, Advincula does have 13 stolen bases this year. He crept too far off a second, and the throw gets him. Put down by Dawson Brigman, and Jonah Advincula was trying to take plenty of room off of second base, and the bat is taken away from Jacob McKeon here in the fifth. Cougs strike for 2, 3-0 Washington State after 5. Into the 6th inning in Pullman, 3-0 Washington State. Dakota Hawkins pitching a good one for Wazoo. 5 shutout innings, 84 pitches right now for the Cougar right-hander. 6 strikeouts. He faces the heart of this order: Efren, Manzo, Robert, Hipwell, Coleman, Brigman. And heart of the order can't be any more true than when you're talking about the Santa Clara squad. Excuse me, O'Hara, Manzo, Hipwell here in the 6th. 2-3-4. O'Hara into center field. Advincula just getting to wait on it and make the catch for out number 1. Well, these next 2 guys, Efren, Manzo, Robert, Hipwell, if it is towards the end of the day for Dakota Hawkins, boy, what a great finish it would be if he can get Manzo and Hipwell, 2 of the better hitters on the West Coast. Already made quick work of out number 1. Pitch to Manzo, cut on a miss, the breaking ball. And Hawkins has just not given in today. We said it early on, it's not like he's just lobbing fastballs in there. He's had really good command. Misses inside, 1-1. But even the misses today for Hawkins have just not been egregious. He's been doing a good job of staying where he wants around the zone. His 1-1 pitch. Hit to center field. Advincula going to have to turn on the jets for this one, and he chases it down in the right center field gap. Isn't that fun to see? Great wheels for Jonah Advincula to track it down for out number 2. So a quick 5 pitches for 2 outs. A little bit of a stunned Efren Manzo back into the dugout. Against casual speed, that's a double into the right center field gap. But Jonah Advincula is another level of speed in center field for the Cougars. Robert Hipwell takes strike 1. Hawkins has retired 6 consecutive. One hops in there, 1-1. Hawkins did a good job with Manzo and Hipwell in the 3rd. Trying to do it again here in the 6th. Swing and a miss at the 1-1. Again, it's the breaking pitch that gets the whiff. And Hawkins could be steering down strikeout number 7. Here's 1-2 pitch. Low and in, 2-2. Hawkins dealing here this afternoon. And a line drive to left field. It's at Jake Harvey, and he makes the catch. He was already shaded to the gap. And a 1-2-3-6 for Dakota Hawkins. He's sit down 7 straight. It's 3-0 Cougs. New pitcher for Santa Clara in the bottom of the 6th inning. It's Brandon Gomez, left-hander, behind Cole Kitchen, who goes 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, 67 pitches. You see Gomez, good numbers this year as well. And man, he can mow through hitters. 32 strikeouts to the 4 walks. Another one of these arms we've talked about with the sub-4 ERA. And we'll see what he can do against Sam Brown, Kyle Russell, Jake Harvey. 3-4-5 in the Washington State order in the 6th inning today. 3-0 Cougars lead in the 6th. Dakota Hawkins 6 shutout frames and strike 1 to Sam Brown. The Cougs into the Santa Clara bullpen. And Brown lines it foul down there. This is McKeon, excuse me. And it's been playing tricks today so many times. Both these teams have left hitters at the plate in the previous inning. It's happened 4 times today for these two teams. 3 runners caught stealing. And then McKeon was left on a pickoff of Jonah Advincula in the 5th. 1-2 here to Jacob McKeon. McKeon fouls it off on the first base side, still 1-2. Two runs last inning for Washington State to grab the 3-0 lead. 5 hits for the Cougs, 1 error. 4 hits for Santa Clara. McKeon fouls off another. Able to fight off a couple on the outside half of that strike zone. Hard grounder foul on the third base side. So 3 2-strike pitches fouled off by Jacob McKeon. McKeon with that .328 average. Takes ball 2. McKeon is 0 for 2 today. Strikeout looking in the first, grounded out to shortstop in the 3rd. McKeon takes ball 3. Fouling off 2-strike pitches, then taking a couple out of the zone to get the count full 3-2. Saying hello to Brandon Gomez, the first out of the Santa Clara bullpen here in the 6th. The payoff pitch. Outside, McKeon successfully checks his swing and works a walk. A walk on 9 pitches. Great at-bat by Jacob McKeon. And the Cougars get to start with a base runner in the home 6th. And now Sam Brown, who's 0 for 1 today. A walk and a line out at second base. So it was a rocket at Dawson Brigman. He made a nice hop and a catch back in the 4th inning. Brown, first pitch swinging here to right field. Brown hitting it to the warning track for a loud out number 1. Jacob McKeon retreating back to first base. There's a wind out to right field, but it was more of a line drive for Sam Brown. Another hard hit ball. Just not finding a hole yet today. 1 gone, bottom of the 6th, 3-0 Washington State. See the stars and stripes blowing out steadily past the right field fence. We'll check over on first base. Your gut would tell you see a big first baseman like Jacob McKeon, you're thinking, why even worry about him? He does have 3 stolen bases this year. Russell showed bunt, pulls it back for ball 1. Russell, swing and a miss. 1-1. Will be interesting to see if Dakota Hawkins comes back out for the 7th inning. He's at 94 pitches right now. It's not his season max. He threw 109 against UCLA. That was on a much more dreary, miserable night. You know, this afternoon, better weather. You further into the season, I mean, maybe you're going to have Hawkins make a case to stay out there. Another move over to first base. There doesn't seem to be much going on down in the Washington State bullpen, and Hawkins has retired 7 straight Broncos. Bunt pop back to the screen. Bunt sign will likely be taken off now for Kyle Russell in this at-bat. He's been trying to move a runner. Gomez the pitch. Outside, 2-2. Gomez's fastball sitting right around 93. Saw good pitches from Cole Kitchen, the starter for Santa Clara. Now good life on it from Brandon Gomez as well. And he pumps a fastball past Kyle Russell for out number 2. Only the 5th Cougar strikeout today, but a big second out, keeping Jacob McKeon over at first base. Two outs, Jake Harvey, the hitter, 0 for 2 today. Fly out to center, a strikeout swinging. And Harvey takes well outside for ball 1. The Cougars have had 2 innings end with runners caught stealing, and then the last inning with a runner picked off. Harvey went at that 1-0 pitch. It's 1-1. Santa Clara was caught stealing to end the 4th. Harvey chasing up the zone at the fastball. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. And Brandon Gomez was right back to it, ready to work. Ball and 2 strikes. And the southpaw's delivery. Fouled off. McKeon a walk here in the inning. Brandon Gomez looking for a scoreless 6th in relief of Cole Kitchen. Outside, 2-2. One of a couple games that's gotten going involving WCC teams today. The 2-2 high and away, count full to Jake Harvey. Loyola Marymount St. Mary's now knotted at 2 in the 7th. It's in Moraga, California. McKeon on first, 3-0 Washington State the lead. And the payoff pitcher with 2 outs hit at second base. Scooped up by Dawson Brigman and his throw to first to get Harvey for out number 3. That takes us through 6 this afternoon on the Palouse. Washington State a 3-0 lead. And Dakota Hawkins back to the mound for the 7th when we come back to Bailey Brayton Field. 6 shutout innings for Dakota Hawkins, and he'll start the 7th against Coleman Brigman for Santa Clara. 3-0 Washington State. And all Dakota Hawkins needs is one more out for a career high in innings pitched. Ground ball foul on the third base side. 6 innings a couple times this year for Dakota Hawkins against UCLA in a win on March 31st. And at Arizona State, in what ended up a 6-5 loss for the Cougars. A little high with the 0-1, 1-1. Pitch count is now at 96. Puts him 3 pitches away from his second longest outing by pitch count this year. And strike 2 to Brigman. That was, as we mentioned, 109 pitches in the 9-5 win over UCLA. The 1-2 delivery. Hawkins, a strikeout. Beautiful slider off the lower outside corner for punch out number 7. Leadoff man gone for Santa Clara in the 7th, make it 8 straight retired by Hawkins, and what's now his longest outing by innings pitched in his career, 6 1/3. Malcolm Williams, the Santa Clara shortstop. Ground ball. Long way to go for Hainline, just couldn't quite get to it. And Williams aboard with a single. Nearly a magnificent play by Elijah Hainline sliding onto the outfield turf, but now Malcolm Williams will be able to put some pressure on the base paths once again. Washington State does have, by the looks of it, Connor Wilford going out in the bullpen. Will Cresswell gonna emerge. Anthony Claggett out of the dugout as well, calling everyone together. 11 stolen bases now over at first base for Malcolm Williams. That's something for the Cougars to think about in the top of the 7th inning. Along with the aforementioned Connor Wilford, you see McCabe Cottrell getting hot for the Cougars. And man, he was nails earlier this week for Washington State in the win over Gonzaga. Came in the bases loaded spot with no outs in the 8th inning on Tuesday. Held the Zags down and got the save. So we could see either him or Connor Wilford. Right now it's still Dakota Hawkins with 1 out in the top of the 7th. John Baring coming to the plate. A reminder, no doubt, given to the Cougars of the speed over at first base. 11 swipe bags, actually 12 swipe bags for Williams over at first. A ground ball by Baring into right field has Williams digging for 3. Matthews puts a throw on, and it's past Cam McGee, but backed up by Dakota Hawkins, and Baring takes second on the throw to third. Single for John Baring. Williams stretching it to third, and heads up base running by Baring to go to second. Second and third with 1 out. And that'll do it for Dakota Hawkins in the top of the 7th. Tying runs coming to the plate in Johnny Lutzo, and the Cougars will make a call to the bullpen. It looked like it was for the right-handed arm of Connor Wilford. We'll confirm that when we come back. Dakota Hawkins, 6 1/3 innings, a career high. We'll have to sweat it out here in the top of the 7th and see if the Cougs can keep Santa Clara off the scoreboard. 3-0 Washington State. Connor Wilford taking the mound. Connor Wilford called on in the top of the 7th for Washington State. Couple runners in scoring position for Santa Clara. Here's the numbers on Wilford. Has been used heavily by the Cougs. 31 2/3 innings. 4.55 ERA, 31 strikeouts to 7 walks. But he inherits second and third after singles by Malcolm Williams and John Bering in the Santa Clara 7th. Johnny Lutzo, first pitch gets away from Cresswell. Coming on home and sliding in is Williams for the first run for Santa Clara. A pass ball for Cresswell. And a good read by Malcolm Williams. There aren't a ton of players who would make that play coming down the third base line, testing Cresswell as it didn't get too far away from him. But it took Cresswell a moment to get a beat on it. And the run scores. Over to third base, Bering on the play. So 3-1 Washington State, and one bounces outside. Cresswell has to keep this in front. It won't be a shutout performance for Dakota Hawkins, but he worked really well in 6 1/3 innings. Fly ball to center field, plenty deep to score Bering. Advincula makes the catch for out number 2, but Santa Clara gets to within 1 on a sac fly for Johnny Lutzo.
Catcher number 17, Ben Steck.
So make it a 3-2 ball game now. And the Broncos making hay on the 2 singles for Malcolm Williams and John Bering. Base is empty now with 2 outs. A swing and a miss for Ben Steck, the Santa Clara catcher. Now outside and away from Cresswell, 1-1. Steck, 1 for 2, singled in the 3rd, grounded out to 3rd. His first 2 at-bats. Fouls it off right at the dish. Ball and 2 strikes. Connor Wilford can still get the Cougars to the stretch with a 3-2 lead. Opening game of this 3-game set. Nobody up in the Santa Clara bullpen. It would appear they're going to stay with their left-hander, Brandon Gomez. 2-2 fouled back by Ben Steck. There's not even a body down in that bullpen down the right field line for Santa Clara. Gomez just pitched a scoreless 6, the 2-2. Swung on and missed. Wilford the strikeout, and Washington State gives up a couple unearned runs here in the top of the 7th. Time to stretch in Pullman. Santa Clara has made this much tighter, a 3-2 ball game. Time to stretch when we come back. Oh, the venerable Jamie Vinnick of Coug Fan taking in some Cougar baseball today. Bottom of the 7th inning coming up after the stretch. That man's busy this weekend. Out here catching the Cougs. I bet he's going to be around spring football tomorrow. He does a fantastic job of covering Washington State athletics. Dawson Brigman, Michael O'Hara, Efren Manzo in the 7th. First pitch. That'll be in the 8th for Santa Clara, excuse me. Jumped a page ahead. Cam McGee going to try to get the Cougs going first here in the 7th. Ball, no strikes. Now 2-0. It was after Santa Clara in the top half struck for 2 runs, 2 hits. Malcolm Williams, John Bering, sac fly RBI, Johnny Lutzo. And the 2-0 finds the lower outside corner, called a strike. It's Cam McGee, 2-1. McGee, couple singles in this ball game. And now he's up ahead, 3 balls and 1 strike. Brandon Gomez pitched a scoreless 6th inning. Here he is in the 7th. Santa Clara during the last between inning break did throw some more bodies down in the bullpen. McGee a ground ball at second. Dawson Brigman gobbles it up. And that's out number 1 in the Washington State 7th. So Cam McGee got his way ahead, but Brandon Gomez, good job to elicit the ground ball out. Elijah Hainline now 0 for 1, struck out in the 2nd. Walked in the 5th, later scored. Right now he scored the go-ahead run. He came in on a sac fly for Bryce, or a RBI double for Jonah Vincula following the sac fly for Bryce Matthews back in the 5th. Puts a good swing on this to center field. It's got some pace. Looking up is Brigman. It's over his head and pounding off the fence. Hainline into second base, standing up. A rocket of a double from Elijah Hainline. 106 off the bat. And he smoked it to dead center for a big knock for the Cougs. One out double with Will Cresswell up next. And Cresswell doubled, fading away into the right center field gap on a hard hit double in the 3rd. So he's trying to find a way to pick up Elijah Hainline, help the Cougars generate an answer in their half of the 7th. First pitch strike to Cresswell. Both starters done today. They were both effective in their own rights. Cresswell, long foul ball down the right field line. The 5 innings for Cole Kitchen. He was able to scatter the 5 Cougar hits over 4 frames. And just the 3 runs. It's for a Washington State team that's hit the ball really well this year. 1-2 now to Will Cresswell. Then Dakota Hawkins. It'll be 2 runs, 1 earned on his 100 pitches and 6 in the 3rd innings. One of his best outings of the season. The 1-2, runner goes, it's outside, good jump, no throw. Helped that the pitch was out, and it brought Ben Steck out of the crouch to go get it. 2-2, Hainline steals 3rd. Cougars trying to get a run back, and the infield will come in for Santa Clara. Puts a fly ball in play for Will Cresswell. Just stable to, no, he swung and missed. So coming home, Hainline scores. The throw to first does get Cresswell. Hainline's now slow to get up, and it looks like he peeled that batter's box on the slide. A strikeout of Will Cresswell, and it goes 2-3 on the putout for out number 2. And Brian Green and his staff going to help get that batter's box stamped back down. Jake Valentine in there helping stomp on it, and Elijah Hainline luckily looked like he was all right. Scoring on the play to make it 4-2 Washington State. And it's an interesting thing to bring up about the batter's boxes here. It's something that I think goes overlooked on these turf fields, but they do have these kind of peel away turf pieces. It's so that you can do better maintenance on it, and it was just not expected to see that pop up in the way that it did. High and tight to Bryce Matthews for ball one now, 1-0. 2 outs, 4-2 Washington State leading bottom of the 7th. Matthews fouls out play on the third base side, 1-1. So should be scored a passed ball off of Ben Steck on the strikeout. And it wasn't horribly wild. That's why I thought maybe it was fouled back. 2-1 to Bryce Matthews. But Will Cresswell did take off running right away. So he evidently didn't feel that he had nicked it either. The 2-1 pitch. Long outside for ball 3, 3-1. 4-2 Washington State, bottom of the 7th. And Matthews up over second base, grounds it into center field for a 2-out knock. Another base runner for the Cougars, and it's to the top of the order. Be a chance to put a little 2-out rally together here in the 7th and get both of the runs back from the top half. And Vincula, RBI double last time up in the 5th. Already extended his hitting streak to 7 games. He's driven in 2 of the Cougars' 4 today. Takes the first pitch low from Brandon Gomez. Gomez had to throw 22 pitches last inning. He's up to 40 pitches now, 18 here in the 7th. And it skips in, taking off Matthews. The throw to second, too high. Williams trying to get the tag back down. Ben Steck doing everything he could. But the read by Bryce Matthews on the ball in turf puts Matthews in scoring position at second base. Here in the bottom of the 7th. 2 outs, a 2-0 count to Jonah Vincula. Has swung a great bat all year. Low and outside for ball 3. If you lose at Vincula, you have the ever dangerous Jacob McKeon behind him. The 3-0 at Vincula. Hard at first. Nice stop by Manzo. Gets up, takes it to the bag for out number 3. Efren Manzo, big play to keep it a couple-run ball game. Cougs get 1 back, and after 7, it's 4-2 Washington State here on Pac-12+. Back at Bailey Brayton Field, home of the Pac-12 Washington State Cougars. Top of the 8th inning, they lead visiting Santa Clara here 4-2. Important at-bats for the Broncos right now. Top of the order, trailing by a couple runs. And Dawson Brigman takes strike one from Connor Wilford. Santa Clara will be feeling that pressure at the plate to get something done as Wilford gets the 0-1 past Brigman, 0-2. Wilford got the final couple outs of the 7th, a sac fly and a strikeout. There was a pass ball in there as well. Santa Clara scored 2 last inning. The 0-2 outside from Brigman, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wilford, who has a fastball, a cutter, a curveball, and a changeup. Tries to drift one outside, 2-2. Wilford really likes his changeup. Goes to the 2-2 offering. Went with the fastball at the knees, and that's strike 3. Dawson Brigman caught looking, and the wrong kind of hat trick for Dawson Brigman today. He has struck out 3 times. Leadoff man gone for Santa Clara in the visitors' 8th. Michael O'Hara now 1 for 3 today. First pitch strike to O'Hara. O'Hara's walked 8 times over the last 5 games. He's been menacing at getting on base. Takes one away, 1-1. But yeah, his single back in the 3rd. O'Hara's one of only 3 hitters not to strike out today for Santa Clara. Checks his swing. It's bouncing foul on the third base side, 1-2. That's O'Hara, Efren Manzo, and John Bering, who have not been punched out by the Cougs today. 8 strikeouts for this pitching staff. Actually, 9 now for this pitching staff. Beg your pardon. The 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball lost outside, 2-2. Connor Wilford working behind Dakota Hawkins. Night 1 of this series, the 2-2 pitch. Just off the lower outside corner, counts full. Washington State has been pretty good at home this year, 11-4 at Bailey Brayton Field in 15 contests. The payoff. And a ground ball foul. Third base side. Santa Clara really hasn't been all that bad away from home this season on the flip side of things. They're 8-6 on the road this year. He'll take that. 10-7 at home this season. The payoff pitch. Outside for ball 4. Michael O'Hara, his 9th walk in the last 6 games. And the tying run will come to the plate here in the 8th inning for the Broncos. This will be the part of the game that's really going to stand out. Efren Manzo, Robert Hipwell, if Santa Clara can get there here in the 8th. Couple guys who pack some power. 11 home runs this season for Manzo, and a home run would be just what the doctor ordered for Santa Clara. Instead, it's McGee playing a grounder left side. There was no play at second. So it's a ground out that moves the runner for out number 2. Michael O'Hara to second. But Efren Manzo 0 for 4 today. And now Robert Hipwell, who's 1 for 3. Trying to get at least 1 back for Santa Clara in the 8th. This will be a huge opportunity for the Cougars, who don't just want to automatically put the tying run on base for the Broncos. Will Cresswell talking through this at-bat with Connor Wilford. You don't just want to give a free base, but you got to be careful with Hipwell too. A WCC leading 12 home runs on the year. Two-run Cougar lead. They just got to run back in the bottom of the 7th inning. Michael O'Hara on at second base. Got on via a walk here in the frame. First pitch to Hipwell. He takes a strike. Wilford going right after him. Starting with the fastball. And now fouled back. 0-2. This gives Wilford a lot of places he can go in this at-bat to Robert Hipwell. Two-run Cougar lead. Wilford trying to preserve it in the 8th. Tosses the 0-2. And up high. Wilford reaching back for that one. Hipwell not chasing it. 1-2. As we said, Wilford has a couple opportunities here, and he wanted strike 3 on that inside half. Jake Olenhop doesn't budge behind the plate. It's 2-2. Well located there by Wilford. Tough take for Robert Hipwell. The 2-strike pitch once again, and fouled off. Before the single in the 2nd inning, Hipwell fouled off 3 2-strike pitches. It was an 8-pitch at-bat that ended in a single. Wilford trying to win this one for the Cougs. The 2-2 pitch. Hop foul down the first base side. Man, this would be a big at-bat for Wilford to come out on top of and move it to the bottom of the 8th. Trying to win this battle in the top of the 8th inning. 2-2 once again. Couple 2-strike pitches fouled off by Hipwell. Wilford comes home. Popped up mile high behind second. Kyle Russell has a beat on it, and he makes the catch, staying with it for out number 3. And the Cougars survive the middle of the Santa Clara order. They've done a really good job with some really good hitters today. And going to the bottom of the 8th, it's 4-2 Wazoo.
Number 19, Jacob McKeon.
Bottom of the 8th inning, 4-2 Washington State leads Santa Clara at Bailey Brayton Field this afternoon. Jacob McKeon to lead off the 8th for the Cougars. 3rd inning of work for Brandon Gomez out of the bullpen. Gomez low and inside, 1-1. Cougars with a couple sacrifices for runs today. An RBI double for Jonah Advincula, who also had a sacrifice ground out. And a runner scored on a wild pitch. It's all 4 runs for the Cougs. Swing and a miss for McKeon. Santa Clara plated 2 runs on a passed ball and a sac fly. More of a small ball kind of day. Good pitching for both these teams. It's 2-2 to Jacob McKeon, leadoff man for Washington State, bottom of the 8th inning. First of 3 games this weekend between the Cougars and the Broncos. Brandon Gomez, the offering, high, and the count full. Good crowd on hand today for this late afternoon ball game. Washington State trying to get to 23 wins on the year. And ball 4 to Jacob McKeon. Leadoff walk for the Cougars in the bottom of the 8th inning. Could be the 12th win in 16 home games for Washington State if they can get it done here in the late innings. It's worth noting right now, the Cougars 22-13 coming in today. Their best start since 2006. Brian Green getting this program more than just in the right direction. They are trending with some big wins and a lot of opportunity down the stretch in this 2023 season. What a job this Cougar staff has done, all these players these last few years, to breathe great life into this program. Brown, the chopper, foul on the first base side, 0-2. It's big for the Cougs to do everything they can at this point of the year to really guard their RPI and get some opportunities in conference play to do some big things. Just got to approach it one game at a time. Play a dangerous game if you start peaking. There'll still be 16 more games left on this season after what's played this afternoon in this last couple frames. The 0-2 off the lower outside corner, ball and 2 strikes. Brown a walk in the first, a line out to second in the 4th. Flew out to right field in the 6th, but there have been some hard hit balls here from Sam Brown today. These last 2 outs especially. Hits it right back up the middle. There's another one that Brown just tattoos into center field. Hit that well right back up the box. Gets his first hit of the day. First and second with nobody out for the Cougars, trying to grab some insurance in the 8th. So Kyle Russell will have the next opportunity. There is an arm ready in the Santa Clara bullpen, a right-hander down the line for the Broncos. At least that seems to be what's been given as a signal out of the bullpen. One pitcher raised his hat off his head, tipping his cap to the dugout. That's usually your telltale sign that they're signaling that the reliever's ready. First and second, nobody out for Kyle Russell. And he's already showing bunt, pulls back, wants to take a rip at it, and line it foul over the first base side, 0-1. How about that play by the Cougs? Already, Malcolm Williams was breaking to third. The shortstop, Robert Hipwell, the third baseman, came crashing in, and Russell was going to see if he couldn't catch something over the corners or get in front of something, hit it through a wide open left side. Shows bunt again. This time stays with it, lays it down third base side. It'll do its job and move the runners. Good sacrifice bunt by Kyle Russell. Cougs put 2 in scoring position. 1 away, and Jake Harvey going to try to do something here with runners at second and third. No, it'll be a pinch hitter for Washington State. Greg Fuchs pinch hitting for Jake Harvey. left-handed bat against the left-handed arm of Brandon Gomez. So we'll see what Fuchs can do. Corners have crashed in for Santa Clara. First pitch, Fuchs takes strike one. Fuchs could be retained to play in the outfield in the ninth for Washington State as well. Pinch hitter here in the eighth inning. The 0-1 to Fuchs. Takes strike two. Fuchs hitting 167 this year. An experienced bat for the Cougars. Transfer from Oregon State. Couple in scoring position. Fuchs fouls back the 0-2. So fastball from Gomez. Fuchs from the heralded Mercer Island High School program. Has driven in 13 runs this year. The 0-2. Fuchs hammers it at second, but it's right at Dawson Brigman. A throw to second, not there for a double play. Sam Brown had to get back into the bag after Brigman made that catch. Man, Fuchs hit a rocket. Two gone for Washington State. Second and third, the runners. Cam McGee trying to do it with 2 outs. Cougars 2 for 6, 2-out hitting today. Breaking pitch outside for ball one. You may say we're in the 8th. How is it 2 for 6? Well, that's because the Cougs had the bats taken away a few times. Some runners caught stealing and a pickoff. The 1-0. McGee fouls it into the glove of Steck. He hangs on 1-1. Time called. Ben Steck with a visit out to the mound. May either be feeling that he wants to change the signs or didn't like something in the spotting of that last pitch to Cam McGee. Looked like it was right there over the zone, and McGee did just miss it. The runners at second and third. 4-2 Washington State in the 8th. McGee hitting it down the left field line. It's tailing foul. Now ball and 2 strikes to the Washington State third baseman. Really important couple runs at second and third for the Cougars if they can get them in. Trying to expand a 4-2 lead with a couple outs in the bottom of the 8th. McGee, couple hits today, 2 for 3. McGee takes strike 3. Fastball dots the lower outside corner. Cam McGee does not like the call, but it strands a couple ducks on the pond for Washington State's. It's a 4-2 Cougar lead. Cougars trying to shut the door in their home house when they come back. Good pitchers duel this afternoon. Top of the ninth inning, a 4-2 lead for Washington State. We are at Bailey Brayton Field in Pullman, Washington. First of a 3-game series between Santa Clara and Washington State. Coleman Brigman, Malcolm Williams, John Bering due up in the ninth for the Broncos. Connor Wilford stays on for Washington State in the first pitch. Low and inside to Coleman Brigman. WSU just stranded a couple runners in the eighth. The 1-0 fouled off. Cougars shifting left side of the infield, 3 to the left. And McGee, Russell, and Hainline. Only Sam Brown well off of first. Ground ball at that left side. Russell right there to play it. And Brown, little stretch to bring it down for out number 1. Leadoff man retired for Santa Clara in the ninth. Connor Wilford had to get the final 2 outs of the 7th. Then Wilford pitched a scoreless 8th, getting through the most dangerous part of the Santa Clara order. And now he's a couple outs away from giving the Cougars a Game 1 win in this series. But the pitch by Williams driven down the left field line over the jumping McGee. Williams, we've talked all day about how he can run, and he's into second base standing up with a 1-out double. First pitch swinging for Malcolm Williams. Back-to-back hits and back-to-back at-bats. And he's in scoring position for the Broncos with a 1 out in the ninth. A wry smile into the Cougar dugout for Connor Wilford. He'll turn his attention to John Bering, who has singled twice today. And Bering takes a slider at the knees for strike 1. We'll see what Wilford can come back with. This is a save opportunity extended out for Wilford. Ball and a strike. Wilford has 2 saves this year. Once against Arizona, once against Villanova back at the start of the season, and now he pours strike 2 into Bering, a ball and 2 strikes. Wilford really needing to get John Bering here. Here's 1-2 pitch. Hit down the right field line, and Bering has this in fair. Extra bases for John Bering, and he's thinking 3 as the ball rattles around in the corner, and Bering with the triple gets Santa Clara within a run, and the tying run is 90 feet away. Malcolm Williams and John Bering with the big hits here in the ninth. And those that have traveled to support the Broncos fired up here in the top half, 4-3. Johnny Lutzow coming up next. Anthony Claggett's out of the Washington State dugout. Eight hits now for Santa Clara, and Washington State will dip into the bullpen once again. A double for Malcolm Williams and a triple for John Bering. Makes it a 1-run ball game, 4-3. Santa Clara a couple outs to work with. And the Cougars trying to close it in the top of the ninth. We'll come back, say hello to Chase Grillo here on the Palouse. Santa Clara trying to knot this up or better in the top of the 9th inning. Broncos already with a run. Chase Grillo warming up for Washington State. See his numbers. Cougars have really tried to rely on him in save opportunities. That's because he's done it to the tune of 6 saves for Washington State this year. He's come in some tight situations. He was outstanding over the summer, pitching in the Northwoods League for the St. Cloud Rocks, where he saved 14 ball games in 20 appearances. Grillo's one of these pitchers that Washington State really goes to in these big opportunities. He has a fastball, cutting action, and a slider. And his fastball has real life. Can be in the mid-90s, no problem. Inherits a runner at third base in John Bering after his RBI triple here in the 9th. It was Bering's 2nd triple of the season, his 15th run driven in this year. Johnny Lutzow, the 8-hitter. Sac fly to center field his last time up in the 7th. A fly ball would get this game tied here in the top of the 9th. Cougars playing infield in with 1 out. First pitch to Lutzow, and he takes low for ball 1. The 1-0 pitch. And Lutzow takes a slider this time for a strike. Great drama in this one between Santa Clara and Washington State. It's definitely been a pitching kind of afternoon in Pullman. Grillo steadies his 1-1. Reach back for a fastball this time. 94 fouled off by Lutzow, 1-2. Cougars last year program record in strikeouts. The folks in Pullman love the strikeout pitch, and they are coming alive here with 1 out in the 9th. Grillo trying to guard a 1-run game. And his 2-strike pitch. Hit back up the middle, into center field for a base hit, and Santa Clara's tied it at 4. Johnny Lutzow able to knock the fastball back up the box. And it's a new ball game, 4-4 here in the top of the 9th. 3 straight hits strung together by the Broncos. 2-run 7th, 2-run 9th. And Ben Steck, the catcher, up next for Santa Clara. Still 1 out now, man on, and time called out of the Santa Clara dugout. They're going to talk about this. Have a little offensive timeout. And what a job by the Broncos to come get this back even. Rusty Filter taking the opportunity to talk with his guys now here as well. Filter joining in that conversation with Jay Brossman. Brossman, an assistant in his 2nd season. Johnny Lutzow now aboard at first base. 4-all the score here in the top of the 9th with 1 out. And Ben Steck, who is 1 for 3 today. Grillo's pitch, a slider at the knees for strike 1. Washington State will have to swing regardless. They have 7, 8, 9 due up in their half of the 9th. Elijah Hainline, Will Cresswell, Bryce Matthews. Swing and a miss. That slider eats up Ben Steck, 0-2. Steck a single back in the third inning. Grillo, the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Cresswell picks out a breaking ball, and now off of first base is Lutzo in a rundown. Brown to second. Hainline puts down the tag. And the Cougars get a strikeout, and they catch Lutzo off of first to end the top of the ninth. Santa Clara ties it. Washington State going to try to win it in the home half. 4-all. What a fun game here this afternoon. Santa Clara tied at the top of the ninth. Washington State has a chance to win it in the home half with Elijah Hainline, Will Cresswell, Bryce Matthews, the hitters due up for Wazoo. New pitcher for Santa Clara. It's the right-hander Skylar Hales, a 6'4" junior from Reno. And Hales is a trusted arm out of this bullpen. 12th relief appearance, 13th total appearance of the year. 30 1/3 innings, only 9 earned runs, 40 strikeouts to 12 walks, and opponents hitting .222. Hainline gets a huge hold of this one, and Elijah Hainline on the first pitch in the bottom of the ninth walks it off for Washington State. His 9th home run of the season puts an end to game one, and he does it with a bang. 107 off the bat, 435 to center field, and Washington State walks it off 5-4 on a mammoth blast from Elijah Hainline. Well, this Spokane kid is something, isn't he? And what a ball game in game one. Santa Clara ties it in the top half. Elijah Hainline off of one of the sterling arms for Santa Clara. Skylar Hales barrels it out to center. And that'll have you coming back for more tomorrow. The Cougars win it 5-4. And Elijah Hainline, the hero, today at Bailey Brayton Field. Game 2 goes tomorrow. A 12:05 first pitch. Cougs take the first, and they improve to 23-13 on the season and 12-4 at home. Brian Green, there obviously wasn't much to say after Hainline walks that off. The Cougs winners today, 5-4.